Before we get started, anyone interested in ordering Mr. Lindell's 4-CD set, go to metaphysicalarttheater.com. For those in the U.S., you can order physical copies or the digital downloads. For those outside the U.S., you can order the digital downloads by going to metaphysicalarttheater.com.
How you doing, sir?
Just fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. So we're going to talk about power.
That's a very simple subject because there's only one, right?
Absolutely.
But how often do you remember that? Everybody will agree to it. But, how often do you pay attention to it, though? See, that's what's important. I mean, if you're looking for the power, it's already right with you. All you have to do is use it. And you are using it, but in which direction? I mean, that's what you're here to do, to choose this day. See? And you have the power. You already have it because it gave you choose this day. God gave you choose this day. And the thing of it is that you're doing so. But are you aware of what it is you're doing? What are you saying with your valid say? Because that's your world of experiencing, isn't it?
It is. It is. You ask the question, which is a valid question, what are you doing with your power? And I think that most people, if they really look at it, they're misusing their power.
Yeah, well, look, most people don't even know they got it.
Yeah.
See, that right there, that's the big problem. No, most of them are not aware that the power they're operating, even in their little finger, is the power, right? If you're not experiencing better, then you've been choosing wrong. So stop, take a moment, sit still, and think about it, and then choose again. And that's all you have to do to save your mind, save your life, and have a better life, is if you'll mind your mind, right?
Absolutely. I will often say, mind your business.
That's it. We are our business. That's what I'm trying to get across to them. You are your business. Are you minding your business? Isn't that the point?
That is the point.
So there it is. It's all right in your own lap. All you have to do, go sit in the silence and think about what you're hearing on this message. Because this message and all the messages we give you are for your benefit if you'll use them. And you must use them to get the benefit. That seems pretty simple right there, doesn't it?
It does, but I often say that I think that we get lost in the simplicity.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. It's the same thing as being lost in the confusion. If you're lost and don't know what to say, that's good. Be quiet, be still, and think about it. The simplest thing is to go sit in a comfortable, quiet place and contemplate on what you're listening to. You're listening to it. And if you're still listening to it for even now, then you must have heard something you thought was worthy of your attention. And then all you have to do is just pay attention to it. I mean, open it and quicken it. Find the end of where you want to be and go there and stay there as long as you can. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And if you practice long enough, it'll be an hour. And actually, it's really that simple to do. But it does take the confidence to believe in what you're saying to yourself, because what you're saying to yourself is your future. I mean, your future is coming right out of your own mouth, so to speak. But usually it's your self-talk that really nails route down, right? I think that's what it is, don't you?
I do. You said something that your confidence. And I think a lot of times people hear what's being said, whether it be from us or Neville or some other teacher, and they don't have the confidence that they can execute what's being presented.
Yes, but the thing of it is that you have to do something. You were given something to do. And what you were given to do was to choose this day. And you're doing so. But are you aware of what you're choosing? That's all I'm asking you is, are you aware of what you're choosing? Because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So does he, so has he, so is he. It's right out of yourself. All the without came from within. And everything on the outside, from buildings and bridges and everything that man has done, but it all came out of mind, out of imagination. And that's what you want to use wisely, very wisely, I'd say, wouldn't you?
I would. You remind us that everything that we see, first and foremost, started as a thought or as an image of mind or picture in the mind. And so many of us, we see the without and we think that the without is the origin, when in fact that's not correct.
No. I don't understand that people don't see, where did we start this whole thing? In the caves, right?
Yeah.
Well, and what are we doing now? Now we're going out to other planets. Come on. If is that not progress?
Absolutely.
I mean, why? And it's been going on for how long? And it'll keep going on. So you either get on the train or you just stand at the station forever. I think that's it, wouldn't you say?
I would. Well, we got a lot of people still at the station. And so our goal, of course, is to get them on that train. And, but you said something. We had a talk a few weeks back, and we were talking about God prompting. And you said the God that's prompting is in the individual. And sometimes we still want to look to an outside source to give credit to when the source power is within.
Yeah, that's right. And it's the same thing as miracles. Everybody says, well, this was a miracle. Whoa, that was a miracle. Everything is a miracle. Or nothing is. Come on. Let's face it. I mean, can you grow a blade of grass? Come on. You can't make a blade of grass. So how smart are you, really? You see, it's all with you, but that's the point, is recognizing that you do have the power to operate with, because there is only one, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Going back to what you said, that it's all a miracle, we've got so complacent with the normal, everyday miracles that we don't even recognize them anymore.
Right. You're absolutely right. Once it becomes familiar, it goes into the past. No, it doesn't have the urgency that it needs to move you. And that's what you do if you focus. You're giving energy to the idea that you're contemplating, and that's what you're going to be experiencing, because you're always thinking ahead of your evidence, and thoughts are things, right?
Absolutely. And just touching back on that, thoughts or things, somebody hearing this for the first time, that would sound like insanity. But if you really take a look at it and you really evaluate everything that's in your life, you would see that everything originated with a thought.
What you're looking for is looking for you. So make sure that what you're looking for is something you want, not something you don't want. Because you're thinking all the time, and you're praying ceaselessly, you're told. You get that word, ceaselessly? That means without stopping. You're praying with every word you speak. Is it leading you where you want to go? That's the question, isn't it?
It is, and somebody's listening to this right now, and they're saying, well, I didn't pray for that. But of course you did. knowingly or unknowingly, correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's what we're talking about. Be aware of what you're talking to yourself about, what you're suggesting to yourself. And it can happen so subtly you don't even know you're doing it unless you're paying attention. And that's the problem of what's the first thing you teach a little child? Pay attention so you don't hurt yourself. And that's what we're trying to tell you. Pay attention so you don't hurt yourself. It's just as good advice for us as adults as it was for a child, isn't it?
It is. It's actually very wise advice. As I sit there and I smiled as you said that, but it so applies to us today. Many of us truly are hurting ourselves, because of what it is that we're giving our attention to. And the fallacy is we think that we can give our attention to anything and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and you suffer that doesn't matter. That's the problem. Yeah. It's all how you see things. We were told as children, that seeing is believing. But Scripture's had it for thousands of years that it's believing is seeing. What do you believe? That's what you're experiencing is what you believe. So if you change your beliefs, then you change your experiencing. Doesn't that make sense?
It does, but that's still, when you've been indoctrinated your whole life, science and everything else says seeing is believing. When you flip that script and you say believing is seeing, it's kind of hard at times to wrap your mind around it from an egocentric point of view.
Well, absolutely, because we were born innocent, and then we were handed over to who? Maybe they were warm, well-meaning, loving people, but then again, that wasn't true for everybody. But regardless, we're conditioned to whatever they were conditioned to if they didn't change it. And you'll get conditioned to what they were conditioned to, and then you'll pass it along unless you change it. And that's what this whole operation that we're involved in here is to do, is to get you to change your mind, change your world. It's that simple. Keep it that simple, and you'll remember it. And that's man's great failure, is he doesn't have a good memory. He forgets and forgets. He knows what to do, or at least he's suspicious of it, but you know what to do. You can't have someone else do it for you. There are those things you must do for you. And if you don't do those, then you suffer all the consequences of not doing it. A friend of mine, he didn't pay any attention to his toe, and the nail curved up in there, and they wound up having to have a surgery to get rid of it. But he knew far in advance that was what was heading. See, we let things build up on us without actually discerning them properly. And then we run around saying, why me, why this, why now, when it's you all along thinking in that direction. That's all there is to it. You've got to change direction. And you can do it because you're told to do it by God. And he wouldn't tell you to do it if you couldn't do it, and he'll know if you can or you can't. But you can if you focus on it. I think I said enough there.
Well, you said a mouthful, but it was really good quality stuff, so I kind of want to touch on some of it. You said that what we gather from our parents, then we pass it down to our children. And it's so true. I was talking to someone recently, and she was dealing with a spirit of fear. And she recognized that the spirit of fear that she had upon her was passed down from her father. And her father probably received it from his father, and it may go back from generations to generations. And I told her, I said, listen, you have to stop the curse of fear. I said, because your children are going to watch you, and then they're going to mirror that same spirit if you don't show them something different. So you're absolutely correct.
Well, that's why we have an age of reason. Well, let's reason together. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to reason this out together, that there's nothing actually for you to do but to choose this day. And it is This day is all you have to choose for. Because tomorrow you can change it again, and you can change it again, because that's what you're given to do, to choose this day. And if you'll do it, if a man will order his conversations right, you're told, you will be shown salvation. And salvation is the answer to all your problems. And you're given to do so. And all you have to do is be quiet. It says, be still and know that I'm God. I think that if you'll just do that, that will bring you everything else. If you'll be serious enough and hold on to it long enough to feel the benefits of it. I mean, all it takes is just every night, give yourself a half an hour to just sit and contemplate on something. I mean, something lovely and a good report, of course, because you do enough of worrying. And worrying is actually the opposite of faith. So there you are. That's it, isn't it?
It is. And speaking of worry being the opposite of faith, when we focus on the fears, the worries, the concerns, the only thing we're doing is promulgating, bringing more of that into our lives. Sometimes what we have to do in dealing with fear, beyond changing our mind, is realizing it's just an illusion.
Yes. You're sticking it to yourself. All denial, we're told, is self-denial. God's not denying you anything. You say, oh, he wouldn't do this, he didn't do that, he could have done that. No, he didn't. He gave it to you. They themselves are makers of themselves. If you don't like what you've made so far, change it. It's your self-talk. Isn't that true?
It is true. And speaking about changing it, we started off the talking about the power. You've received the power in you to change. So it's not like God's left you to yourself. You can't do it apart from God, but he's giving you the choice of doing.
Yeah, it's called the power, and that's the one you're operating. And if you're operating it wisely, then you should be happy. And if you're not operating it wisely, you'll know very well, very fast, that you're not actually doing it correct because you're not living the correct life you'd like. And you can. It is within you to do so. And you're told that all the help you need is nearer than hands and feet. I mean, there it is. You don't need to go out and look in the world for help. All the help you need is nearer than hands and feet. And what you do within will cause what happens without. The help will come to you if you will allow it. See, that's the thing, that you have to allow these things to come to you, because it's as you think you are. And that's the power. That's what you're operating. You're given from God to choose this day. Isn't that giving you the power? Isn't it?
It is. And I like that you said you're given to live the life that you desire. Most of us really don't believe that, but for those who take hold of the message and they own it and they begin to allow, as you just stated a moment ago, and begin living from that desired end, they're experiencing the life that they desire.
They're experiencing the life that they were living in the end. This is what they foresaw. That's what you're experiencing right now, what you have foresaw for you. I named this metaphysical art theater because it is in the theater of mind where we do our work of choosing this day. Are you paying attention? Because you're your business. You understand? You are your business. Are you minding your business? If you're not, well, just ask any storekeeper. You're not minding the store. It's gone. That's the way it works, isn't it?
It is. You deal with all kind of thieves, robbers, low-life people, and so forth, because the store owner has given them access. But likewise with you in your thinking, when you're not minding your business, when you're not minding your mind to gate the entry to what's being given to you by way of thought, then you open yourself up to all kind of chaos.
Yeah, you give rise to all the problems that you're having because they have your attention. And that's all there is to it. That's their lifeline, your attention. They only thrive as you allow them to by paying attention. And what has your attention does have your life. So it's very wise to actually discern everything that you're thinking. And I know that's difficult, and I know you're not paying attention all the time, and we all run off at the mouth and get ourselves in problems, and I do so too. But the idea is that it's way, way down. It doesn't happen very often. And that's what you want to do. It takes discipline, and I can't ignore telling you that it actually takes discipline to sit in the silence, be still, and know that I'm God. But I'll tell you this, if you ever accomplish that once, just once, it'll be lifetime for you. You'll never forget that. Because it's just like a whole ocean just flushed down on you and cleaned everything up. Attitude, awareness, and imaginational control is your daily life. Pay attention to it. It's your life, isn't it?
It is. You said, listen, if you can just experience that once, it's literally going to transform your life. And it's so true. Once you begin to understand from sitting in the silence your oneness with the allness known as God, you're going to be operating from the power. So when you're operating from the power, the things from without move you a lot less.
That's right. Right. It's all about maintaining your own attention and directing it where you want. That's all we were put here for, to be better directors of our own conscious feeling nature. And if we are, we're happy. If we don't, well, I'm sure I don't have to tell you about that, because what has your attention has your life. It's that simple, and you're on all the time. You're paying attention to something all the time. Is it benefiting you? If not, stop it and move to something else. Look, you can only think one thought at a time. I mean, that's scientifically proven. You have to actually make a shift from one to the other. It may seem instant, but it really isn't. You're in charge if you take charge. But that's the idea, is to take charge of your thinking and feeling. If you are in charge of your thinking feelingly, then you're in charge of your life and you're happy. Otherwise, it's chaos. Isn't that it?
It is. You talked about making the shift from one state to another state. And what we don't realize is that shifts happen, and they're happening all the time. We can go from, I think the biggest example of shifts happening is watching a 2-hour movie. And they take you through all the different areas of emotions, the highs, the lows, the happies, the sads, the mads, the anger and so forth. So we are moving through shifts when we're watching that movie. So now let's be better directors of the movie in our minds.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it is. I mean, actually it is all like a movie, and it is all on automatic. And you are operating on automatic because as you think, you are, you do, you have, you be. So if you're in charge of your thinking, you're in charge of your life. If you're not in charge of your thinking, then you're not in charge of your life. And believe me, like I said before, if you're not paying attention, you'll be seen as not paying attention. And there are those waiting in the wings or the bushes or whatever to attack someone who's not paying attention. So it's always up to you to be on guard of your own self-talk because you're saying things to yourself that you really don't want to experience. You see, and you talk about ideas that are happening or something could be happening and that you don't want to experience it, but yet you keep thinking about it and you keep giving it life and it keeps operating in your world from your permission. And you're told that blessed is the man that does not condemn himself for that which he has allowed, because we're always condemning ourselves because we're always justifying everything we do. And are we justified? That's the question, isn't it?
It is. And you were talking about paying attention and what it is that we're giving our attention to. And going back to the subject, let's say fear. Many people think that in the fear or the worry about the event that hasn't happened yet, that there's some type of service in giving it fear attention, like if I fear enough or if I worry enough, it'll go away. No, it's going to do actually the opposite. It's going to remain and it's going to enlarge itself in your life until you dispel that energy.
Yes, that's it. It's no different. Think of the mind as a garden. Yeah. You got a weed in the garden. Okay, so you got a weed in the garden. Pull it out, and then it's over. In other words, if you have a weed in mind, you change your mind. And that's all there is to it. Your thinking is your life. Think better, you have a better life. It has nothing to do with what's on the without, because everything on the without came from within. If you just picture what's being said here in your own mind, you'll find the secret of how to cause desired change. And that's what everyone is here looking for, isn't it?
It is, and the thing is, speaking about the garden, what's produced in your garden doesn't care if you're a good person, a bad person. As Mr. Lindell stated a moment ago, if you're giving that thing your attention, no matter who you are, you're going to reproduce the harvest of that thing that you've given your attention.
That's it. That's right. And look, even God tells you, I suffer with you, but you behold me not. That is how he is involved with you, first person. And when you recognize he's involved with you, first person, believe me, it'll be no effort at all to turn to him, and he'll turn to you. He has already agreed to do so. So on his side of the equation, it's already a done deal, isn't it?
It is. And that's what we need to operate from, the done deal, or living from the end. I was talking to somebody recently, and they said, well, what is it to live in the end? I said, you live as though, feel as though, act as though the thing that you desired is already currently your reality.
Yes, that's it. But also your reality is if you're thinking of problems and negativity in any form, you're bringing that also into your world. Because, like I said, it's all on automatic. What you're thinking feelingly about is being produced in your world of experiencing. It's that simple. And all the holy places they're talking about, where could be holier than where you are if God is in you? If Jesus is in you? Is that not what Paul said? Do you not realize that Jesus is in you? I mean, come on. They're with you, and they're telling you that they're suffering with you because you're the one doing the choosing, and if you're unhappy, well, then they're probably unhappy with it too. But you're given. Not waiting for it. You're given. Choose this day. And it's always this day. You'll have a new chance every day to change your mind, change your world. Isn't that so?
It is. I often like to say that you have a new chance every day to rewrite the script.
Yep. Exactly what they're doing, or they're not doing. The secret of life is all things in moderation.